Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw, and the Astros, and the cheating scandal. And by the way, I want to thank all the Dodgers fans that have been really supporting my videos. Last couple of Dodgers-related videos did really well. I was shocked. I want to thank you guys. You've been really nice in the comments. Opening day's not here yet, so the war has not begun yet. So we're still friends right now. In a month or so, that might change. But as of now, we're buddies. So I do have a couple of Dodgers bobbleheads. If we can get this video to 100 likes, these Dodgers bobbleheads will go out to a couple of Dodgers fans that have been big supporters of the channel and haven't picked out who yet, so make sure you hit that like button, comment down below. Really appreciate it. Let's get to the video. Let's talk some Dodgers. Let's talk some Astros. Let's talk some Kershaw.
And he drives it into right center field. Hit a ton. This baby is way back. On here.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. And today, I'm going to talk a little Clayton Kershaw. This is a guy who has struggled in the postseason a little bit. He struggled in the World Series in 2017. And, I made a video about it after the season, after the 2019 season, talking about Kershaw and talking about why does he struggle in the postseason so much? What's going on there? I thought, my theories were maybe it was some mismanagement, misuse, using him as a reliever when he should be a starter, taking him out of his comfort zone. Maybe he's got a little bit of that, that he's just not one of those guys who steps it up in October. Maybe it's a mental thing. I don't know. I was just coming up with some theories. But at that time, the Astros scandal had not dropped yet. We didn't know about all that. Now there's a whole new theory that really can go a long way to explain why he has struggled, at least against the Astros, because he has struggled against the Astros. In 2017, he didn't pitch that well, and now we have a reason why. Maybe they knew what the hell he was going to throw. And everybody in the entire world, all 6 billion people except for Jim Crane of the Astros, realizes that if you know what's coming, you're more likely to hit the ball. So we have this article, Astros cheating haunts Clayton Kershaw's memory of the 2017 World Series, and Kershaw said, "The only thing that bothers me is the real-time stuff." Kershaw told Sports Illustrated about how Houston misused technology to steal signs, including making him the highest profile victim of what went down at Minute Maid Park in 17. "I'm sure a lot of teams were going up to that line, but once Houston started doing it in real time, using technology in real time, that's what separates it. I'm sick of people saying that everybody was the same, that everybody was doing it. No, we weren't all doing that. That was separated from everyone else." And I'm believing this as well. At first, I wasn't sure. I didn't play big league baseball. I don't play Major League Baseball. I'm not a coach. I'm not a manager. I'm not a player. I don't know what goes on necessarily. So maybe there were other teams that were doing this. But because the players are coming out so aggressively, one after another, with Cody Bellinger and guys who are normally quiet, like you got Mike Trout, you got Judge coming out, Trevor Bauer coming out, just one after the other. I can't mention them all, but they're all coming out very pissed off and saying that punishments were weak. These guys are cheaters. I lost respect for them, etc., etc. And because they're so angry like that, and this is a brotherhood, you don't normally come out against your fellow players like that. Unless you're really pissed and you're really passionately upset and you're saying that this is definitely something that they disagree with and this is something they weren't doing. Obviously, not every team was doing this. If so, they're the biggest hypocrites in the entire world. Now, obviously, some of these guys, if they were on that 2017 Astros teams, they might have been using it as well. I have to mention that, but at the same time, we don't know that because they weren't on that team. So all we know is everybody's getting pissed off. Clearly, the Astros were doing something above and beyond, in a bad way, what other teams were doing. Kershaw was probably the biggest profile, the best pitcher to get affected by this, although there were many. Obviously, there were a lot. Darvish is another guy, got completely lit up, looked terrible. We're like, gosh, what is wrong with you, Darvish? Like, you get into the World Series and you completely stink. They're lighting you up. And it wasn't just big guys, it was fringe guys. Guys like Bolsinger, who is suing the Astros. And at first you hear they're suing the Astros, like, I don't think you're going to win that one. But then you investigate his stats and you find out in 2017, he is on a major league team. He gets completely lit up like he can't pitch, like he belongs in high school. He gets hit so hard by the Astros that he gets sent back the next day. He had never pitched another big league game since, and he hasn't even been in baseball for a while. He had to go to Japan to play baseball. The guy got destroyed that day, and it derailed his career. I think he might have a case. But back to Clayton Kershaw. Now, let's keep in mind he has pitched some good games. Game 1, for instance, of the World Series 2017 in Los Angeles. He absolutely dominated the Astros. They had no chance. They had no clue what he was going to throw. which is the way it's supposed to be. He struck out 11. He didn't walk anybody. He completely dominated that team. The Astros had 3 hits the entire game. What a performance that was for Kershaw. What happened then in Game 5? Now they're in Houston. Every time the Dodgers get a lead, he coughs it up. He's just getting hit hard. He's getting knocked out of the game by the 5th inning. They're scoring a ton of runs. They end up winning the game by scoring like 13 runs, even though the Dodgers hitters still hit, because that's what they do is hit, but they couldn't match the Astros with their 13 runs. It seemed like the Astros knew what was coming. The commissioner's office even determined that they cheated throughout the 2017 postseason. So you can't say they didn't steal signs in the World Series. Postseason includes the World Series. Asking Kershaw about that night was like asking someone about the time they had their wisdom teeth removed. He wanted no part of reliving the pain, especially knowing what all of us know. What did you think that night about the game? I asked him. That didn't come to my mind, he said, referring to the Astros knowing what he was throwing. What did? I just pitched poorly, lost the game. Now in the interview, they also try to ask Kershaw, it seemed like they knew what was coming, but he didn't want to go ahead and confirm that completely. He tried to stay away from that. He tried to be the bigger man and just say, I didn't pitch well that day. I didn't pitch well in Game 5, period. But I'm sorry, everybody with common sense is going to think about this and say, maybe Kershaw didn't pitch well because they knew what he was going to throw. At that time, openly, I was rooting for the Astros 100%. I mean, come on, I'm a Giants fan. Let's just be honest. 2017, I had no idea. And nobody watching that was thinking about they were stealing signs. They were just watching the World Series thinking it was clean baseball. Now, in retrospect, we realize what was going on that series. Now, I know that, Correa's got his whole analysis of the World Series saying, it was clean and everything, which they got to stop saying it was clean because they sound terrible when they say that. But, it doesn't really matter. You can analyze it as much as you want. You can say the signs are too impossible to steal. They're too complex. But when you got technology, if you really were using technology and you had real-time technology and you had algorithms designed by geniuses, are you kidding me? You can punch those algorithms in and you type exactly what he did. Wiggle wave, tap over here, 2 fingers, 1 finger, type it in. Okay, let's see. What was it? It was a changeup. You hit changeup. Next pitch, do the same thing. Sequence. Say what it was. So many pitches in, you plug it into that freaking algorithm, it figures it out. And then by, 6 or 7 batters, you know what's coming. That's why he dominated the lineup the first time through. And then the second, third time through, they crushed him because at that point, they probably figured out the signs. I'm not saying any of this is 100%, but it makes perfect sense. I want to also read this part of the article. Something very telling went unnoticed in that game, especially by the Dodgers. Only 2 batters into the game, Chris Taylor led off for the LA with a single. As Houston starter Dallas Keuchel went into the stretch, catcher Brian McCann gave multiple signs with a runner just at first base. So the Astros were using the major's top security system. Why? Because they knew how to breach those of others. Kershaw took no such defensive measures with his catcher, Austin Barnes. With the bases empty and runner at first, Kershaw and Barnes used time-worn signals straight from the schoolyard, 1 for fast, 2 for curve, 3 for slider. Barnes sometimes added location for an in and out. How about that? So when the Astros were on defense and there was a runner on first base, even though normally you would just give the typical old signs, the Astros knew, hey, it's possible to steal signs like we're doing. They might be doing what we're doing. We better do the complicated system. But when the Dodgers were out there pitching, they were just doing a 1 fastball, 2 curve, 3 slider, just the typical stuff because there wasn't a runner at second to relay the sign. They didn't know there was trash banging going on now in the World Series. Maybe they weren't banging trashes, but they were doing something. They were doing something to signify what the pitch was going to be so that the hitter was ready to rock and roll. Kershaw's taking a high road. He's saying, I lost command a little bit, didn't pitch that well, and maybe that was part of it. Maybe he did start to lose it, but you feel like you're losing it when you're getting lit up. You feel like, man, I'm losing it. My slider is not as tight. My pitches aren't there like they were, the first time through the lineup. What's going on here? I'm missing location. You might not be missing location. Yeah, you missed location by an inch, but they crushed the ball and you think you missed location, when in reality they just knew what pitch was coming. Kershaw's so good, he doesn't have to have pinpoint accuracy every time to get guys out. But if you know what's coming, you're going to hit the ball, and they were doing that. Kenta Maeda replaced Kershaw to throw his late biting slider to Altuve. Maeda did so 6 straight times but couldn't put away Altuve. So they decided to throw a fastball. Maeda threw it down the middle. Altuve crushed it for a game-tying home run. Kershaw sat in the dugout with his hat off, hair askew, head drooping, a sad picture of fatigue and frustration. There would be no win, no MVP, no demons vanquished. After the game, he would have to answer yet again why a big game had gone so poorly for him. Guys, I'm not a Dodger fan. I'm not a Kershaw fan. I mean, I like Clayton Kershaw, don't get me wrong, but he's on the Dodgers, so not really a Kershaw fan. I'm a Giants fan. But truth is truth, man. The Astros were cheating in the 2017 postseason. It's part of the report. As much as the Astros want to keep saying the commissioner did his report, they found no buzzers. Okay, well, since the commissioner's report is gospel, it says you cheated in the 2017 postseason. So stop saying you did it clean. And now Kershaw is a bit vindicated. He has had his struggles in the postseason. There's no doubt about that. But it is very suspicious when you break it down and you look at that game, how the first time through the lineup he was just dominating, dealing, and then the next time through he gets lit up. I mean, he just can't get any outs. It did look really, really weird, and now that we know what went down, we may be able to give Kershaw a little bit of a break there. And if he can turn around and have a nice postseason in 2020, I know he's already kind of declining. He's not as good as he used to be, but he's still Clayton Kershaw, and I think he could still have a really nice postseason. If he can turn that around, he can definitely turn his reputation around when you combine it with the fact that we know that he may have been screwed. He may have gotten screwed, and his whole Dodgers team might have gotten screwed. Probably, I shouldn't say might have. I should say they did get screwed in 2017 by a cheating Astros team that knew what the hell pitch was coming. I mean, come on, the Dodgers are putting down the 1 for fastball, 2 for... You don't think they were figuring that out? Come on, they were figuring that crap out. So, revising my previous video on Kershaw where I mentioned how he is misused, mismanaged in the playoffs, and maybe he doesn't have that killer edge like a guy like Bumgarner, I'm going to go ahead and change that a little bit and say, also, sometimes he gets cheated. Thanks, guys, for joining me. I appreciate it again. Dodgers fans, appreciate your support. Go ahead and hit the like button. Let's get this to 100 likes so I can get these bobbleheads out to a couple Dodgers fans. Have a great day, everyone. Really appreciate it. Check out the links in the description. Check out my Twitter account. We'll be talking baseball over there. Got some team previews coming up I'm working on. Have a good day again. See ya!
When the Giants come to town, it's bye-bye, baby. Every time the chips are down, it's bye-bye, baby. History's in the making at Oracle